I made a video a while back that was the top 20 websites that I recommend that you sell your products on if you're obviously selling products online, right? And what I did in that video is I tiered it from tier 1, and I had a bunch of websites. I'm actually going to read them off to you here in a second. Tier 2, which I recommended that you could try a little bit of, and but wouldn't really bring the best return for your time spent. And then tier 3, which was basically these websites are not worth your time, right? So I got a question recently on that actual video, and it was from Peter. They said, so Walmart is not in the top tier. And as I was responding to that question yesterday, it really made me realize all right, that's an outdated video. I made it probably a year and a half, maybe even 2 years ago now. And so I should probably update that video because obviously a lot of those websites have changed and shifted tiers. So I want to give you the best, most up-to-date websites that I recommend that you sell on. We're going to cover 24 of them today. I've got them all right here and outlined for you. So it's the 24 best websites that I recommend that you sell your products on, okay? Now, this was the old tier system. Let me pull it up really fast. So tier 1 was Amazon, eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, okay? Now, depending on how you were sourcing products, what your goals were to sell, those were the 4 best marketplaces that you should have been selling on that I definitely recommended that you should spend your time on, right? Then tier 2 was basically the websites that I saw as up-and-comers that you could list products on, you could sell products on, but really weren't bringing in the recommended or weren't worth it fully yet, in my opinion, right? And Walmart actually wasn't even on this tier. So it was OfferUp, it was LetGo, which obviously is not, doesn't exist anymore. OfferUp absorbed and bought LetGo. So it was OfferUp, LetGo, Facebook Marketplace, Etsy, Wish, Bonanza, StockX, and Goat, okay? And then finally, the third tier of websites on here were ones that you can list your products on, and you might get a sale here and there, but realistically, it's not worth your time to spend listing products there because they're not gonna bring, really maybe a couple, but they're really not worth your time invested whatsoever, right? So I avoid it, avoid these, they're not worth the time, don't do it. And that was Craigslist, ThreadUp, Tradesy, 5 Miles, Vinted, The RealReal, Depop, and Curtsy, okay? But now I want to kind of switch the tier system, right? I don't want to actually be okay, tier 1 is, this, tier 2 is something that you should be listing on, obviously, but not spending all your time on, tier 3 avoid, right? I want to make it really, really simple with these 24 websites that I know of that I'm going to recommend to you. And it's basically, yes, you should spend your time listing here, it's worth it, or no, you should not spend your time listing here, don't list there, right? I'm going to make it really simple, black and white for you, yes or no. Fair enough? All right, let's jump in. So on the first side is the sites that you definitely should be listing your products on and are definitely worth your time, okay? So obviously we're gonna have the same 4 from tier 1 in the last video. That's Amazon and eBay and Poshmark and Mercari, okay? Now, depending on how you're sourcing products, okay, you should definitely be sourcing products, for Amazon specifically, if you can rank on the product detail page and you can obviously sell, it's a different way to source products, right? And I don't want to get too into it in this specific video, but all of these websites are very, very good. If you're sourcing for Amazon specifically, obviously, highest sales velocity, most sales, most customers, people literally, if they're going, I know me personally, but it's not just me, it's a lot of other people. If you're going to buy something online and you have Prime, which is over 100 million, I think probably plus that now, then you're going to Amazon, right? Because you know that you're going to get it in a day or two, most likely, depending on where you live, and it's free shipping to you, right? And then also you have a bunch of different products that you can, it's just a really easy catalog to look through, and you know that you're going to get a great product, you know that you're going to get great customer service, and you're protected as a buyer, right? So if you're sourcing products specifically to sell on Amazon, if you're doing private label, online arbitrage specifically for an Amazon private label listing, or specifically, for an Amazon product detail page, right? Then you should be sourcing for Amazon. If you're selling for, looking to sell wholesale, you should be sourcing for Amazon, right? All these are examples of things, and even retail arbitrage are examples of things where if you find a good product detail page on Amazon that is selling well, and you can find that product profitably elsewhere, it makes perfect sense. Amazon's the best marketplace, hands down, no questions asked, okay? Now, eBay is the next one, like I did say, and eBay, in my opinion, is the best, third-party marketplace where you can literally list as a third party on their marketplace. They already have customers looking for those things. They already have customers basically searching on there. They're doing a lot of sales volume, and it's the best marketplace where if you're not specifically sourcing for a product detail page like Amazon, and you're just, sourcing maybe coupon products or cashback products on cashback websites, or liquidation pallets, or going to garage sales or anything like that, or you have extra, trinkets laying around the house or something. Not that any of those are trinkets, but you get the picture, right? Like if you have something random to sell that isn't specifically tied to a product detail page and is exactly a product on Amazon, eBay is your best bet. It's the highest sales velocity, highest sales volume, most customers. You will get the most sales on eBay, okay? And then coming in third, I guess, and fourth on that list, and these aren't in any actual, specific order, but I'm just going down the list as I have them. There's actually three other ones that are on tier one, or I guess the yes tier here, is Mercari and Poshmark, okay? In no specific order. So Mercari, I like to think of, without getting too into it, is like kind of like a baby up and coming eBay. People are on there, they're searching for it, you're gonna get sales there. You can promote on Mercari for free, although you're limited to 10 promotions site-wide a day, and you're also limited to the amount of times you can promote to a liker within a given time period. So it is a cool little system. It's not as good as eBay by far, but it is like a baby eBay, and you should be listing there, okay? Poshmark, hands down, is great for clothing. There's so many people looking for clothing on there, whether it's used, whether it's new. And don't get me wrong, like you can sell clothing on Mercari and eBay as well, and they sell really well there if it's the right brands. With Poshmark specifically, it's mainly geared towards clothing, okay? Now they have expanded their categories. I think there's like a kids, I haven't even looked at the categories in a while because I don't really sell anything else besides like clothing and home. But I think there's other categories. Let me actually just pull it up just so I don't give you the wrong information. I'm pretty sure last time I looked, there was like 4 of them. So let's go. Yeah, so now there's women, men's, which obviously are clothing, pretty much, kids, which is clothing. Then they introduced the home category, and then recently they introduced the pets category, okay? So there's 5 categories. 3 of them are clothing mainly. One of them is like home, home goods, which is super broad, and you can pretty much list a number of things there. And the other one is pets, which is also really, really cool. So Poshmark is another great one that you should obviously be listing on if you have home goods, if you have clothes. You get the picture, right? Then the other 3 that didn't actually make the first version of this video, but now I recommend that you list on, are first and foremost Facebook Marketplace. I have been listing on Facebook Marketplace realistically only about a month, and I've been testing out like listing products that I have for my reselling business, as well as testing out drop shipping. I have an entirely new drop shipping video. I made one like probably 2 weeks ago on how you can do like retail drop shipping to your house. I've been drop shipping differently with a different extension that literally is a game changer. So I plan on making a new tutorial on that coming very soon. It's great. It's a great way to do drop shipping on Facebook Marketplace, and you can make good money doing it. Tutorial coming on that soon. But also you can list things there that you have, just like eBay or just like Mercari in a lot of ways, or just like Poshmark, although clothing doesn't do well in my experience. It's only been a month, so small sample size, although it's not really that small because I've been listing a lot on there recently and testing it out. So you can list things there. They will sell. There's a lot of people on Facebook Marketplace, and even if they're not specifically looking for goods, if you promote your listings or you list them there, there's billions, literally billions of people on Facebook, okay? And it's turning more into kind of like an eBay. Facebook's pushing the marketplace a lot, so there's a lot of potential there if you get in early, especially drop shipping wise, or reselling clothing or reselling stuff that you have for that you might as well already sell on Facebook if you're already selling it on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari as well, right? Then it just makes a lot of sense, okay? So Facebook Marketplace has been great lately. The only downside that I've seen with it, people say that the downside, and I guess this could be a downside for some people, is like I've heard people say like it takes 21 days to get paid on Facebook Marketplace. That has not been my experience. Usually I'm paid within like a week, which is typically like Mercari or Poshmark anyway, right? eBay is different. You get paid automatically, not automatically, that's the wrong word. You get paid immediately through PayPal. So that's, really great for people on eBay if you're kind of tight cash flow wise. But if not, like if you can afford to wait a couple days to a week, it's pretty much the same in my experience, at least, as Poshmark and Mercari, right? So I haven't seen a 21-day pay period like other people have claimed. That's not been my experience. The only real, so that could be a downside for you if you're facing like a cash flow issue, but then obviously you wouldn't be able to really list on Poshmark or Mercari either. So that shouldn't be a problem for you if you plan on scaling to any like minute degree. It shouldn't really be an issue. The only real downside with Facebook Marketplace is it seems like your listings kind of die, right? So with Poshmark, old listings can sell if you share them, right? Or old listings can sell if people are searching for them, right? Same thing with Mercari, same thing with eBay. Obviously, Amazon works in its own way, and old listings can sell, right? If they're ranked. With Facebook Marketplace, it seems, at least in my experience, and this is all like anecdotal from my own experiences listing there, it seems like there's kind of, not always, but kind of like a short window from when you list that might be 24 to 48 hours, maybe a little bit more, where it gets the most visibility and the most kind of views and potential sales, and then it dies off, right? Not only that, and that's not always the case. I've seen listings that are older still getting like hundreds of views. That's totally fine. But the majority of listings seem to follow, like kind of fall under that kind of system and expectation. But that said, even if they don't, your listings do actually die, right? You need to continue to relist them. And I'm pretty sure they only give you like 4 to 5 relists. It's almost like OfferUp in a weird way, right? So that's the only real downside, is your listings kind of die and you need to relist them so that they get more visibility and more traction, you know, to buyers on there, okay? Now, the last two on this first list, well, I guess there's actually more too. I'm gonna give little caveats here in a second. Walmart is another great marketplace. Full disclosure, I don't have any experience selling on Walmart. I don't plan on selling on Walmart anytime soon. That said, I have a lot of friends that are resellers that do sell on Walmart, and it's been a great game changer, okay? It's just like eBay and it's just like Amazon, in not specifically, right? But in the sense that they have a lot of sales on there, and they're really the only potential e-commerce giant, not even eBay, in my opinion, that they're not an e-commerce giant yet, but they have the ability to build that because they have the distribution, they have all the, like, they're the only ones that can really compete logistics-wise with Amazon. Not yet, but like potentially in the future, right? And so I see Walmart literally blowing up. So if you can get on Walmart and they've opened it up to third-party sellers now, you should do that and you should also list there, right? I don't do it personally, but it is something potentially I could do in the future, but right now I'm not focused on it. But like I said, I have friends that sell on there and do very, very well because there's a lot of people looking on Walmart.com for products, but there's not really the competition there, right? On Amazon, there's like ridiculous sales, but there's also ridiculous competition. On Walmart, there's like a lot of sales, but like not that many third-party sellers are competing for that competition, right? Or for those product sales, right? Great opportunity. Walmart makes the cut, okay? And that's literally what spurred this entire video and why I created it. Now, the last one is kind of, that's like on the definitive, one list, and there's 4 others that I'm gonna give a caveat here in a second. The last one that makes the list is kind of teetering, in my opinion, in between like one, like yes, you should list there, and like really is worth the time, and then like no. It's more towards yes, and I've been getting sales there recently, both dropship wise and just listing my own products for resale wise in my own business, and that is OfferUp, okay? Or LetGo, obviously, because they bought OfferUp bought LetGo, right? So OfferUp is a great marketplace, although like Facebook Marketplace, it seems like your listings die and only have a short kind of shelf life or half-life or whatever that word is. So it's a good marketplace where you can make sales both dropship-wise, which you can dropship on OfferUp because you can also, whether you do it the way that I've created videos on in the past, and I've created an entire OfferUp dropshipping video, or you drop ship literally by having a third party send it to your customer, you can do that just like on Facebook Marketplace very easily. You can also do that on OfferUp very easily because you can choose your own shipping label and not go through their shipping label, right? So it's great for drop shipping. It's, because you can't really get away with drop shipping on Amazon or eBay anymore unless you're doing wholesale drop shipping, which is a complete different thing that I don't teach or talk about or really have any experience with. But if you're doing retail dropshipping, OfferUp does work very well. The only little caveat there is it doesn't have the sales of like a Mercari or a Facebook Marketplace or an eBay or a Poshmark or something like that. It does have sales, right? So you're gonna have to list, but the only little caveat, it would hands down break the yes list if you could list on the computer. But the only drawback that I see of it is while it doesn't really have the sales, although the sales are there, just not as much as the other marketplaces, you will get sales there. You have to list from your phone, right? And if you're like a reseller that's just listing from your phone, that's fine to do that, right? But if you're like planning on scaling this up to any real business, or you value your time, which is probably 100% of you, OfferUp is not that marketplace until they really bring the ability to list from the computer, where you can literally just move all the listings over with a multi-channel listing software, or just input it manually on all the places and click list on all the marketplaces at the same time. It's not really worth it, in my opinion, because it doesn't take, if you're bored, that's fine. If you're looking for other sales on potential marketplace, totally fine. You will get them on OfferUp, okay? But you have to copy the pictures and copy the listings and all the details and the description from your phone, which takes a lot of time. Whereas on the computer, you can get Chrome extensions, software, or really do it a lot faster, even if you're doing it manually, okay? You can't do that on OfferUp, and that's why I don't recommend it, okay? So it does make the yes tier because you will get sales there and it can be worth your time, although I would recommend just spending your time on the other ones, not necessarily OfferUp unless you want to test it out. By all means, this is just my opinions, okay? Now, a lot of talking in this video. So the other 4 that make the yes tier are caveats here, okay? Now, full disclosure, I don't sell on any of these. I'm planning on testing the first one out. I have sold I've sold on all of them actually, but I don't currently sell on any of them. So the first one is Etsy, and for some people, Etsy is a no-brainer and it's great, right? But for most people, if you're not selling vintage or you're not selling handmade goods, it doesn't make any sense for you because that's all you can list there, right? So you can get away. Every once in a while, people will be like, I see other things sold on Etsy, and that's true. You can also see like other things sold on eBay that aren't allowed there, other things sold on Amazon that aren't allowed there, right? They don't catch every single listing. But eventually they will, and eventually it's not a sustainable place to resell if that's your goal, right? And that's the products that you're trying to sell or how you're trying to list. And so Etsy only makes sense if you're selling vintage or handmade. If that's not you, then obviously it makes the no list, okay? If that is you, then it should make the yes list, okay? Now the same thing with the second and the third, which is GOAT and StockX, okay? Those 2 apps are great if you're only if you're selling shoes, okay? Pretty simple. If you're selling shoes, or sneakers obviously, or whatever, you should be selling on those marketplaces as well, okay? If you're not, you should not be, okay? And finally, the last one on the yes list is Shopify, okay? And this has a caveat as well because people, for whatever reason, like especially beginners, which is probably the majority of people watching this, like you probably don't have that much interest, or maybe you're already an experienced reseller and you're just kind of looking to verify. I know I used to watch videos like this all the time, and I still do. If you're planning on trying to like verify, like, okay, should I be selling on that platform? Is it worth it? What's been other sellers' experiences? That could be you as well. But Shopify, for whatever reason, people have this misconception that like you can list your products on Shopify and it's like a marketplace where other people are going to buy your stuff. And it's not the case, right? The only reason, well, I guess there's 2 reasons. The only 2 reasons that you should be selling on Shopify is A, if you can bring your own traffic. So if you have your own products and you're really good at advertising, which is, I'm not even going to get into why it's difficult to advertise on Shopify, but I'm not going to get into it, right? I think it's a bad idea. Are there people out there that are successful doing it? Yes, a lot of people, and a lot of people make a killing, but it's very, very hard to advertise profitably and successfully with margins that are that small. That's just my opinion, okay? Now, with Shopify, you have to either bring your own traffic, so you either need to have your own store and bring your own organic traffic, or do content marketing, or whatever it is, or have like an influencer base and sell it from that perspective, or something like that, right? Have a following, or be very good at running advertising. Chances are that's probably not you, so you should avoid it, right? The only other time that you should use Shopify is if you're trying to sell wholesale and the wholesale companies that you're applying to are asking for a website, and you need to have like a website that houses your products so that obviously you can go back and be like, look, this is my website. Because not a lot, but some wholesalers will ask you for your website, and sometimes, not always, I get away personally with just listing like briangare.com because that's my website, but I don't actually sell any of my physical products there. I only sell like my consulting. I have like Resale TV. I have some of my webinars and like some of the videos hosted there, obviously on the back end. And I have some other like miscellaneous things listed there, right? But it's not like where I sell my physical products. I sell my physical products on sites like Amazon, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, right? Facebook Marketplace, all those, right? And so those are the only real things, the only times, like when I apply to wholesalers, when they give me like, oh, I need a website, I give them briangarrett.com, right? And if they say like, oh, well, we're looking for like your physical product website because you can't list like, your Amazon store link or like your eBay store link, then in that case, I'll just bag that wholesaler entirely because there's a lot of wholesalers that you can apply to, okay? So those are the only 2 times you should be using Shopify, in my opinion. A, when you can for sure bring the traffic, which probably isn't the majority of you, or B, if you need your own website so you can prove it to wholesalers so you can apply for it, right? So you can apply and get accepted, right? So to recap with the yes tier, and remember, for the last 4 that I'm gonna mention have caveats, okay? Amazon is a yes, eBay is a yes, Poshmark is a yes, Mercari is a yes, Facebook Marketplace is a yes, Walmart is a yes, OfferUp is a yes, and then Etsy is a yes if you sell handmade or vintage, Goat is a yes if you sell shoes, StockX is a yes if you sell shoes, and Shopify is a yes if you either need the website to apply to wholesale or you can bring your own traffic, okay? Now, the no list. I don't really recommend selling on Instagram. I haven't, unless you're an influencer and you can list your products there and like you have a big following, it's not worth your time, okay? So I said no to Instagram, I'll say no to Wish, I'll say no to Bonanza, and I'll say no to Depop. Those are, in my experience, the last 3 that I listed there, Wish, Bonanza, and Depop, people always object to for some reason, and they're like, oh, I do great on here, you should sell on there. And I'm like, really? Like, and I get more into like asking them questions and like how they're actually selling, and it's never worth it, right? They get like a few sales here and there. So it's like you're spending all your time listing all your products there and you're barely getting any sales. So it's not worth it. Like, yes, you can sell there, but not really worth your time to actually do so, okay? And you're not gonna make enough money doing so, right? And I would say like focus more so on like the top, whether it's reselling or business advice in general. You're better off laser focusing on like 1 or 2 things that you're really, really good at and getting really, really, really good at those rather than like miscellaneously doing like a bunch of things mediocrely, okay? The main problem that I see with new resellers is they try to get in there and they try to go through all the business models at once, right? And so now I created a lecture in the beginning that specifically says, do not try all of these at once, right? Instead, pick 1 or 2, and the entire course goes through, especially in the beginning, of like diagnosing what your best goals are and where your time and your money is best spent, and then sending you off to that business model, right? Because what used to happen is people would try to go through the entire course and then do all of them, and then end up being mediocre at every single one of them and not really selling that much. And so if you laser focus on 1 or 2 of them, you're gonna do a lot better and get a lot faster results and make more money, right? So just wanted to kind of cover that. I recommend that you stick to the yes tier, obviously the main ones that I listed, but if you wanna try these, I'm not gonna tell you to not to, but it's not really worth your time in my opinion. So to recap, Instagram, Wish, Bonanza, Depop. Now the other ones here, Craigslist, ThreadUp, Tradesy, 5 Miles, Vinted, Curtsy, Kitizen, and Grailed. Lots of talking in this one, okay? It's been a long time since I've done a long video like this. Gotta refresh the vocal cords here. So, the only time that I would say list on these platforms is if you already have a multi-channel listing software. I recommend List Perfectly. I plan on creating a List Perfectly tutorial on it, like how to actually use it, how I use it in my own business, so that it lists everywhere at once. If you're using a multi-channel listing software and you're listing with your multi-channel listing software and it already lists like the main websites and also lists those other websites that you can potentially list to at the same time, and it doesn't take any extra effort or any extra time on your part really to do so. Obviously it will take a little bit of time because you have to kind of, once you list it there, you have to like make sure the listing's fine and hit submit. But then it becomes worth it and you should do it, right? So those websites on List Perfectly are Facebook Marketplace, which is in the top tier, so you should obviously be listing there. So what List Perfectly does is obviously you post it to List Perfectly and then it will list everywhere for you at once. Facebook Marketplace makes sense, eBay makes sense, obviously, Mercari makes sense, Etsy makes sense if you fall under that category of vintage or handmade goods like we've talked about. Poshmark makes sense. All of those on the top already make a lot of sense, right? Now, the bottom ones make sense only if you're using a multi-channel listing software like List Perfectly, okay? So Depop, if you're using a software like this, makes sense to list there anyway because it's an extra potential sale. You will get a couple sales, but if you're listing there manually, it's not worth it, okay? So Depop makes sense if you're using a multi-channel listing software. Kittison, obviously, Instagram, Shopify. I wouldn't even list on Shopify. It's just wasting your time unless you're bringing traffic. But if you're a third-party reseller like me, where you're kind of reliant on the marketplaces in a lot of ways, then Shopify's not worth your time, so don't do it. In a lot of ways, Instagram isn't really worth your time either, and it's just going to waste your time, but that's a completely different video, so I won't even get into it. And then obviously Grill, then Tradesy.